What's up, everybody? This is your girl CC with Where It Begins magazine, and I got Miss Lacey on the line with us. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. It's a Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, it is, but busy.
I see that. But we have a special guest on the line. I'm gonna let her introduce herself of who she is and what she does.
Hello, everyone. I am Sharina Harris. I'm an author. I write women's fiction and romance, and most recently, young adult fantasy and paranormal. So, kind of all over the place. I've been writing since 2016. And most recently in 2020, during the height of pandemic, I released 2 books, Judge's Girls and Imperfectly Happy, or I'm Perfectly Happy, just depends on how you look at it. But thank you so much for the invite. Super excited to be here and to chat with your audience today.
Yes, and thanks for being here. I am a big fan. I done read both of those books, and they are so good. But before I get into that, I just want to know, what made you want to be an author?
You know, I've wanted to do it for a long time. I really honestly have known since I would say 12 years old. And I think about it, I've been writing little books here, very terrible books, but books here and there. But right around the time I got into high school, I thought that I wanted to be, I said, okay, I want to be a writer, maybe journalism or something along those lines. And so my English teacher, she gave me a book and it had the salaries and the salary was really low. And I said, oh, I can't be poor. So I decided to pursue public relations and marketing. And I still do marketing to this day. It's my day job. But it really came back to it when I was laid off in 2012, I want to say. And it was just, I just heard a voice. It was like, all right, you can cry about this or you can take this time to write. So I did some freelance marketing and did some writing. It was like the best, like one of the best periods of my life. It was just great. And then that's when I knew, it's like, okay, I'm going to go for it. And, I won't quit my day job just yet, but this is something I definitely want to do. So, I feel like God has a way of just course correcting. And that was the course correct from me choosing, money over what I really am passionate about. So I'm really glad that happened, hindsight.
Okay, and congratulations. But who are one of your favorite authors?
Okay, so I will say that because my mother's friend gave me like a whole bunch of romance novels, like 3 or 4 big hefty bags. It started off with like Nora Roberts, Jane Prince, and then I didn't really see any representation for like, I'm like, okay, who are the characters who look like me? And kind of got tired of that. So probably around high school, really got into Frances Ray and Brenda Jackson, Donna Hill, Terry McMillan. Now I was definitely reading up Elin Harris, Stephen King. So those are like my favorites. Like I definitely focus more towards like the contemporary romance side and then a little bit of horror. But I really, really enjoyed that. That was my bread and butter. Like asked me 10 years ago, Brenda Jackson, I read all of her books. And then I just, over time have gotten to exposed to a lot of great authors, both indie and traditionally published. And they're just, it's just so many talented authors out here. So I'm always reading, always discovering new authors. And it's just been amazing.
That's awesome.
That's a good thing. So which novels do you like to write more, romance or what else, huh?
Ooh, that is a really
see. I said romance, right?
Let me give y'all an honest answer. I really enjoy writing Imperfectly Happy and Judge's Girls because it allowed me to just kind of explore, with romance, you have to make sure those characters are always together. The central theme is romance. You have to, it's just more prescriptive, as it should be. That's what you expect as a reader, right? If I'm reading a romance author, they need to be together and doing things. But with women's fiction, I get to kind of explore different layers, and really some of the things for Imperfectly Happy in particular were things that my friends and I were going through or had gone through, or I knew someone who knew someone, right? And that felt more relevant to me at that time in my life. So I like the freedom that the women's fiction with romantic elements, right, allow me to have. So, and I will also say the industry, although they're kind of like interconnected, from the publishing side, with romance, it's a little bit harder for African American writers to really get in there and get the support that that we need to be successful, from a romance perspective. And so I felt like the industry was just a smidge bit kinder. And it's not something that's not, there's been a lot of reports out there about being a Black and romance writer, and like the amount of the percentage with these big, with the big 5 publishers. So it was like the kind of the balm that I needed, but I will always go back to romance. That was a really long-winded question, but I wanted to be honest.
Nothing wrong with it.
That's a good breakdown. That's a good thing too. So while you're writing these romance, does that actually help? Did that ever help you in your relationships that you ever had?
I think of it. Sometimes my friends are like, "Did you do that?" I'm like, "Listen, I have a good imagination. That's all I have to say." But I will say this from like a psychological perspective. I'll stay on the safe side of it.
Okay.
Like understanding that there's always context to what someone is thinking. We only get the surface, the dialogue, right? But we don't understand that this person is saying that Sharina is saying this because of the wounds from her past. So it's not that she's trying to be rude, it's because of all the things that have happened. So for me, from a romance perspective, I am that friend that's like, well, let's get some more context. And I think sometimes it drives my friends and even my mom. She's like, why do you keep saying that? I'm like, it's not just the surface dialogue. There's always layers beneath that we're not considering. So give people a little grace. Now, if they're being jerks, they're being jerks, but give people a little grace of what they really, really mean and what their intentions are. Because most people have good intentions. Sometimes it's just not executed well. That's really given me perspective from like a relationship. Like I'm a lot more, I'll give my husband a lot more grace than I did before. Before I'm like, get out of here. But that has forced me to be like, all right, if I'm going to give my character that I'm creating grace, I got to give my real life husband some grace too. So that's been great. I didn't even think about that, but that's been pretty true. I won't say the other stuff.
Look, that's when the 2 names come in, Sharina and Rena did.
Right. You know what? That's
Exactly. But I read both of your books with my book club, and when I read the first one, I was like, "Oh yes, I got to continue and get another book." But when I read the Judges Girls book, then that book, it was just like so much emotion was going on with that book and everything, and I was like, "Oh wow, how did you come up with the characters, and what are the different challenges you had writing this book?"
Ooh, so the idea was sparked because I have definitely have like a mixed family. So my dad remarried years ago. I was 12. Love my, but I have a great relationship with my stepmom and my stepsisters, and they have my little brother from that marriage too.
Okay.
But she is Asian, dad's Black, so there's they're located in basically Alabama. And so anytime, especially in the past when we would go out, it would just be like a bunch of stairs. So it's just kind of like that, that tension in the deep South. So it's just like, what if I didn't get along with my stepmother? What if, and it kind of was born from that idea. The characters themselves, I'll say a challenge was writing a white woman and trying to have those layers. So a lot of times I would be drafting, and then I would have this one-dimensional character because of my, preconceived notions, right? Of like, well, she's a little ignorant, right? I'm tired of her too. But I had to pull back to say, okay, how did she get to this point? She's not all bad. Who is she? Just making sure that I'm giving her an opportunity to really be a fully formed person. Is she someone, Jeannie is who I'm speaking about, the character. Is she someone I would be friends with? No. And I think that was a challenge because I usually like my characters, even if they're deeply flawed, I'm usually like, oh, well, yeah, I could be. And for her, maybe at the end of the book, I could be her friend, but like the whole transitioning and her learning, it would have been really hard for me. So that was really a challenge, is really getting into her psyche and stepping in her shoes and her privileged shoes. And that was really, really hard for me to do it in a way that wasn't fully colored with my personal opinion of how things should be, if that makes sense.
Okay. It does. Okay. So are you going on any tours, or do you have any upcoming projects?
So tours, nothing set in stone. I'm still a little gun shy with the pandemic, but I was just thinking about, hey, maybe since it was released in 2020, like maybe I should reach back out to these bookstores that I initially wanted to work with. So if anything is updated, it'll be on my website, sharinaharris.com. As far as books, like I told you all before, I am all over the place. And so a book that I'm working on now that was recently acquired by Entangled Publishing. It's a young adult paranormal romance. It's a Vampire Slayer series. And so that's going to release in 2023, January 2023. So I am in the trenches working on that. And I'm also working on a romance. So I'm really excited about that one. So I have it with my agent and she's going to give me feedback. And it's just to kind of give you it's not a state secret, but I'm big on tropes. I love tropes. So this is like stuck in a snowstorm, enemies to lovers, about two writers. One's a accomplished thriller writer, the hero, and the heroine is a aspiring writer, right? And she's a fan until she got to know him, and he's a jerk and he's grumpy, but there's reasons. So I am working on that right now, and hopefully someone will pick it up. Who knows? But either way, even if they don't, I will definitely go the indie route, because it's been a lot of fun and a lot of joy writing this book for sure. So this was like my pandemic fun while things were going on in pandemic, just writing this on the side. It was a lot of fun.
Now I have a question. Since you're stepping outside your box, how do you think your audience is going to take on to the new vampire book that you're about to come out with?
I have thought about that. I was like, some people are gonna be like, what are you doing? But I've always loved paranormal. So what I plan on doing is just, making sure, people understand the difference. Like this is the young adult, these are the books, and then this is, the adult stuff. So I want to be as specific as possible. So even I'm working on revamping my website right now so people can understand the differences. And if you don't want updates for this little vampire thing, then you don't get it, because I understand. I understand. I have some friends who are like, I'll read your contemporary, but I'm not gonna read your vampire. I'm like, that's fine. So I respect that. I totally do. So I want to have it, at least from an online perspective, in a way where people can really quickly understand the difference and what it is. But I imagine there'll be some people who will rock with it, and some people will be like, I will stick to your contemporary. So my goal is to do, have a book in contemporary romance, women's fiction, and have a book, with the paranormal, and just have a nice little trade-off. So it's not like 10 years later you get my next book.
Well, I'm a fan, so I'm gonna read it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I do.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Miss Lacey.
Oh no, you fine. I was like, that's a good thing, because you catching every audience. So that's a plus. So you're about to grab new audience as well.
I hope so, but I understand that some people have specific tastes too. So I'm a reader first. So if I'm not big into, I'm getting into thrillers now. But if I had an author, that did romance and did thrillers, I may give it a chance. If I don't like it, then that's okay. So I definitely want to make sure that readers are happy and they know what they're getting into.
Okay. I did a little digging into you, and I seen what is it on Facebook? I think Just a Tinch. What is that? Yeah, like,
oh no.
yeah, I got to hear this one.
So Just a Tank is yeah, put that the twang on there. Just a Tank. That is a friend of mine, Katie King, and she has a show, and she is really very talented when it comes to like making cocktails, creating her own syrups. So in this show, during the segment, she'll give the guest a recipe that we can do together. I don't know if you saw the video, but I messed it up because I'm just not good at ingredients. But we did, and we'll, do like a little taste testing. So it's like fun cocktail show, but we also talk about books or, other topics, heavily related to like just interests, like women's interests, books, things of that nature. So Katie's also an author herself, and it's been like a lot of fun. So she also does cooking too, but her show particularly is just a taste. And I'm laughing because it was pretty hilarious, because that rum she had me do, that Navy Fleet, it burned my throat so much. And but that burnt, I was like, okay, that was a lot. But yes, that's just so check.
I was like, you was everywhere. I was like, I tapped, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, okay, I like this. Okay, wait a minute. But
it was a lot of fun.
The thing I did like was that you gave the support to your friend on your page, and I want to give you much respect on that you actually support her as well, and that tells me a lot about yourself.
Thank you. I have we have there's this like great network of authors, Black authors, who are really, really supportive of each other, and I have just been very fortunate to be included in that fold. And I get so excited because we really are supportive of each other, and I am newer into this, and they're authors who've been doing this for like double the time, if not triple the time, and they're just really, really great. It's like a sisterhood, it's a mentorship, it's everything. And so we try to be there for each other for sure. Not just for the authors, with my friends too, right? Just like I'm sure you are with your friends as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Always But I'm gonna go back to the book on mine. I know y'all got to the drinking parts and stuff and the supporters part. But how do you deal with writer's block?
Ooh, I wish I could be like, I used to be like, I don't get writer's block. I did during the pandemic. That was like my first time. And not surprisingly, because it's just a lot going on. And what I try to do is just little by little. So maybe I write on average between 5 to 10 pages per writing session. If I have writer's block, I will either just write an outline of what I'm trying to say, or it's just like a very rough draft where it's more like telling than anything, and just getting, because it's kind of forcing me to go through the mechanics and get the words down. And that just keeping in the process, and then something will loosen up. So that's one way. Another way is through inspiration. So I'll read another book. I'll read like a favorite or something of mine, or, oh, this person did setting really, really well, or, you know, I'm going to read this book. So during the pandemic, fantasy novels in particular by like a lot of newer Black authors and young adult, they're running right now. It's been really, really good books. And that helped me because it wasn't set in contemporary, because I wasn't reading something and be like, I can't do that now in the pandemic. Oh, did you wash your hands? Like you have all this stuff in your head. But when you're in an alternate universe, you don't have to think about that necessarily, or maybe not an alternate universe, but you know, somewhere where it's contemporary but vampires exist, you know, you're not worried about the pandemic. So those are the kind of the things that I did. Or I'll watch a movie. Like, it's not just books. I love movies. I'll listen to podcasts. I love like inspirational YouTube videos. Like, that's all day, just something that gets me going and just remember what I'm trying to do and why I'm doing it too. So it's like, it's writer's block, and it's also motivation, because usually my writer's block is the source of it. It's not just like, I got a block today. It's usually like a mental thing from my personal life that's impacting my ability to write. Those are some of the things that I do.
Okay. Well, what advice can you give to others that want to be an author?
You know, I used to roll my eyes when people would say this, but it's so true. It's just write. I think sometimes we get in our head about perfection, being a perfectionist, but the more you write, the better you will get. I think about some of my earlier works that will never see the light of day, and then even some of the earlier books that I published. And you know, it's night and day how much I've grown as an author. But you have to get, like, some people are like, oh, I'm not a writer. I just, like, no, you're a writer. If you're writing, you are a writer. Keep going. You're just going to go up. You're just going to keep going up. Don't be afraid of feedback and rejection. Like, it's one of those things that goes, unfortunately, it goes hand in hand, and it doesn't stop when you become a published author. I got rejected on a proposal 3 weeks ago, right? It doesn't stop, but you have to think about, okay, that person wasn't the right person for me, because once you get there, you want somebody who's going to be your cheerleader, who's going to push you out there to make sure you get your marketing support, and it makes a difference. So just, you know, you can have that fear, you can acknowledge that fear, but just say, hey, okay, fear, I'm going to put you right over here, and I'm going to keep writing. And I get rejected, and I'm going to keep writing. You cannot allow others to dictate your passion. So you just got to keep going. You're going to get better. Your favorite author was probably garbage when they started, and that's okay. And just know that your fave had to start somewhere too. And you know, you're no different, and you can really keep it going. So that's what I would say. Just keep writing, keep going. That's all.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Lacey, do you have any other questions before we go into our questionnaire?
Just basically, I sure wouldn't mind the details of that vampire book whenever it comes, when it get close.
Okay. Yeah, so y'all both are interested in reading. I'm excited. Yes, absolutely. I will just to give you a high level synopsis. It's basically this, I guess young, I say young lady, I sound really old when I say this young lady, but basically girl in college is attacked by, her band. She's in a HBCU band, Battle of Bands. Her band gets attacked by some vampires, and which activates her Slayer powers, and she figures and she discovers there's this whole society that is dedicated to, eradicating vampires. And so that's kind of the basis of it. There's definitely some love interest, and some twists and turns there. But yeah,
right down my alley.
Yeah. Yay! So if you're a fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer with some black girl magic, then that's something you might want to. Hopefully, you will like and check out.
Well, I know I'm gonna like it anyway. I like all type of books, and I'm just a bookworm. And the 2 books that I read by you, I loved it. I couldn't put it down. I finished it in a day and a half. So.
What? Oh, okay. Well,
No, really, I did. I shared it with my book club, and we discussed it and everything. And I was like, when you hit me back, I was like, oh yes, I gotta get her on here because I loved it.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad. I am so happy to be here. So thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
But we have 2 questions for you. We like to do a game at the end of our interview. So that's basic. We're good. So Miss Lacey, what's your question?
My question is, imagine you was able to go anywhere in the world and you're able to write about it. And what would you write about?
I have like,
where and what?
This place, but you're like, write about it too. I'm just gonna make it work for me. I really want to go. I really want to go to the Maldives because it looks really expensive and fun, and I want to do that one day. And I'm like, if someone else is paying for it, I will really be there. What would I write about? You know what? Because it's such a, it's a beautiful kind of secluded area, I would take that and make it something with horror or paranormal, something along those lines. Ooh, but you know what? Now I'm like, no, we can do a romance too. Oh, okay. So either two scenarios. I would either do it where it's just like some sort of, horror paranormal thing. It's like some monsters running amok on the island and just messing people up. Dash of romance in there, somebody finding something, or a straight on romance. Maybe it's a friend's wedding and the main character hates weddings, and this is like her millionth wedding. She don't want to be there, and she finds a cute guy, and they do fun things on the island.
Okay. Hey, that fun things on the island. What's up, Matt?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is a tax write-up. You have given me an idea over here.
That's what I'm talking about.
Look, all right, Miss Stella got a room.
You're like, that's a book. It already exists. Like, but
right.
That does exist. But yeah, something fun. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a great
question. So mine is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I'll say that's a great question.
Mine is, if you could marry a fictional character, who would it be and why?
Oh man. Okay. Outside of my husband, who I love, who is a real life person, blah blah blah. Let me think a fictional in a book. Or can it be a movie character?
It could be a movie or a book. It could be either or.
Okay. Because I'm visual. Let me see. Y'all, I am thinking real hard about this. I am in between Aquaman, I don't know if I'm gonna love him being underwater all the time because I can't be in his world. I'm like, can I get the little air bubble so my hair doesn't get wet and we can just talk together? That's one. And I'm trying to think of something with Michael B. Jordan's character.
Oh.
I'm just trying to make it fit, not Killmonger because he would try to harm me. I'm trying to think of like a character that I can make work. Fictional. And I can't think of one that's like, there's one is there a movie where he's just like a nice normal guy? I'm trying to make Michael B work for me. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Let's just stick with the one if you want to. We
right.
only need one.
I'm over here really thinking about it. Like this is a really good question. I was just not prepared for that. I'm like, yeah. I guess I was trying to make it work, Michael, but you can't.
I got you. Okay. But is there anything you want to tell the audience before we get off?
Yeah, if you want to check me out online, I feel like I'm pretty nice. So you can find me on Instagram at Sharina Rice, Sharina. I see my name on there. So just Sharina Rice all together. Same thing, same handle for Twitter, Sharina Rice, and Facebook. You can just search for author Sharina Harris. So yeah, you can check me out those places. You go to my website, you can subscribe, and I promise I'm going to have some segmentation. So if you don't want to read one particular genre, you can sign up for the other. So yeah, I would love for you to check out my latest books, Judge's Girls Are Imperfectly Happy. And if you do, and whether you like it or not, would love for you to drop a review if you get a chance. But thank you. That's it. Thank you so much for having me. This is fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, but before we get off, I always like to give a speech too. I was just saying thank you for interviewing with us. Like I said, I'm a fan. Once I read the first book, I had to go read another one. So when this new one come out, I definitely want to get an autographed copy. So please let me know and continue on your journey. Continue doing what you do. I think you're a great author. I love your books.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
And Miss Lacey?
I like talking to you. Very humble person and very open as well.
Thank you. I'm gonna be thinking about y'all's questions and be like, wait, let me change my answer after I Google. But thank you. This is a great interview and like really interesting questions. So I really appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Thanks. Well, you have a happy Tuesday. Be blessed and be safe.
Yes, you too. You do the same.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good one. Bye.